if you're interested in mission work. And so if you come to these, then I'll add 3 points, to test grade. Obviously, if you come to all 3 of them, and you get 3 on, each of the tests. But it's just up to you, if you want to do the extra credit. Okay. Got it?
Yep. This right here will make it full screen, make it easier, and just put escape when you're done.
Okay.
When you're ready to stop, click stop.
Okay.
But
Okay. Have we started yet?
yeah, it's
Okay.
there. So.
All right. Okay. All right, good.
Real quick before we move on from that last topic, where can we find the information for the admission seminars and when that's going to happen?
Okay. I know that the August one is August the 29th.
Okay.
The September one is September the 25th, I believe.
Okay.
The 25th, 26th. Let me look at that. And we haven't set the date on the November one yet.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, it's
These are
September
on campus?
26th. Huh?
These are on campus?
Yes, they're in the auditorium.
That's what I thought my brother said something about. He's coming in September.
Okay, all right. Yeah, we just added the August one the other day. And it's August 29th, September 26th, and I don't know when the November one is. But they're good. We feed you free, and then we have a lot of missionaries that come and they teach the classes. And then if you're interested in mission work somewhere, then you can meet them and talk to them and say, I've always wanted to go to so and so, and that sort of thing. And we address all kinds of mission work, whether it's where you go on a week trip somewhere, or whether you are the one that's in charge of a whole program in a particular country or something. But those are interesting. He also teaches a missions class that you would probably, if you're interested in mission work, you would enjoy. It's basically the same material, but a little more in depth, I don't think he has class this time, so it's probably in the spring, or it may be every 2 years or something, I'm not sure. And then Jeremy Barrier, do you know who he is? Yeah. Okay, all right, he's my youngest son. And question? Okay, all right. And then my husband is Wayne Barrier, and he always taught the science classes here for a long time. And then he's on the board also, so we're real tied to this.
Yeah.
We took classes back in the 70s because I was a teacher, math teacher obviously, and he was an engineer. And we decided that we wanted to do mission work. And so we wanted to learn more about the Bible. So back then, they had night classes every night. They had them in the day and then the same class at night. So you could attend.
You know Charles and Martha Baggett?
Okay. Yes. I don't know them well. I just know who they are.
I know Charles. He went here back then too. That's why I figured you probably.
Okay. Yeah, we had like Harvey Starling and let me see, what's his name? Oh man, I can't think of. He was here for a long time, and then he went to Faulkner. I forgot. But anyway, my kids were little. I kept having children, so I didn't finish hardly any of the classes. We had 4 children in 5 years.
Oh, wow.
So it was, I had the beginning of a whole lot of classes that I didn't get to finish. But anyway, so neither one of us got a degree, but we just audited, And then if I'm not teaching a class, I usually still audit here and all. So I've taken the same class under about 5 different teachers. Right, but I just enjoy learning. Okay, now let's see, Amber. I don't know if you go by Amber or Ron, but anyway, we went over the syllabus, and it's pretty self-explanatory. Let's see, we have 3 tests. With 20% each, class participation, homework, and notebook. At the end of the semester, then we'll I'll take up your notebook and grade that. And just as long as it's in some sort of order and relatively neat, you know, that'll be okay. And Amber, you will not have to turn in your notebook because you will have to turn in all of your lessons. So I will see them and I will have them. So there's no need for you to do that. Okay, and let's see. All right, any questions before we get to anything? Okay, it's October the 17th that you're going to be out, right?
Yes.
Jesse. Okay, you're Jesse, right?
Yes,
You're
ma'am.
Bobby. Okay.
I met you
Okay.
briefly once before
I've
over at
seen you.
Shoal Church of Christ.
Okay, all right, yeah, okay. I knew your face, but I didn't know if I'd met you here or over there. But yes, okay. Very good. Okay. Now, sometimes I have trouble getting this dark enough, so if you can't see it, let me know, and I'll write a little darker. I don't know if that will go away. Let's see. I don't like that on there. I don't know. Okay. Let's see. Would you start us off with a prayer?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, thank you.
Lord, we thank you for this day as always, and blessing us with being in a country where we can come to a institution and learn more about you and learn skills and from Christians that will help us in our daily lives, Lord. We know, especially with Miss Barrier's family, that there are so many countries that don't have that type of privilege, and if they do, it's in secret. And we wish to be reminded of those blessings that you give us that we take for granted. I'm thankful for Miss Barrier teaching this class for us to help us grow in our knowledge and be able to use these skills, hopefully to, in some way, to benefit you and your kingdom. We pray these things in Christ's name. Amen.
Thank you. Okay. If before we actually get into this, if each of you want to tell me a little bit about yourself. So you started a little bit while ago, so.
Oh, yeah. I'm from Arab, Alabama.
Okay.
And I went to school at East Tennessee, Southeast Institute of Biblical Studies. They changed the name.
Right.
In Knoxville. And basically went straight from there to Shoals Church of Christ. And I've been there a little over a year and a half now.
Uh-huh.
And I've been coming here part-time since then.
Okay. All right. And you?
I am Bobby Wright. I'm 34 from Memphis, Tennessee.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm a freshman. Let's do this.
Okay, all right. So do you drive or did you move down here?
No, I'm living on here on campus.
Okay,
Yes,
all
ma'am.
right. Okay, right. I know he's going to get married. Okay, and are you married?
Oh.
Have a family? Okay. No, huh? Okay. All right. And we have 4 children and 7 grandchildren. So we've been around a while. Okay. All right. Now let's get into this then. All right. The first thing that we're going to talk about is addition. And of course, you have been adding for quite some time now. Okay. And as you know, if you have a group of numbers like this, you can make it a little bit easier on yourself if you group the numbers that add up to 10. You know, like 8 and 2 is 10, 7 and 3 is 10. So 10 is 20 plus 5 gives you 25. Now, some people add from top to bottom, and then they go back and do bottom to top, you know. And that's about the only way to check your addition is to just do it again. And if you do it a different way, sometimes, like me, you get a different answer. You know, they say, so you may have to do it the 3rd time. But anyway, that's just the way it is. Okay, if we subtract, okay, you might have like 431 minus 167. Okay, now if this, you always start on the right. If this one will not, you can't take 7 from 1, so you borrow 1 from the 3, leave it a 2, and it makes this 11. So 7 from 11 is 4. Now this one you can't take 6 from 2, so you borrow 1 from the 4, leaves it a 3, then take the 1, and that makes that a 12. So 6 from 12 is 6, and 1 from 3 is 2. Okay, now it's an easy way to check this, and that is to add these two together. And then if that adds up to the number that you started with, then you know you did it right. Okay, so 7 and 4 is 11, carry your 1, 6, 6, 12, 1 is 13, carry your 1, 2, 3, 4. So yes, it's 431. Okay, now if any time I go too fast, let me know. Okay, now multiplication. Okay, if you've got a 326 times 17, okay, and you start over on the right. 6 times 7 is 42, put your 2 down, carry your 4. 2 times 7 is 14, plus 4 is 18, carry 1. 3 times 7 is 21, plus 1 is 22. Then 1 times 6 is 6, 1 times 2 is 2, 1 times 3 is 3. Now, the biggest problem that people have when they're working with math is they do it in a space like this big, and then one problem runs into another problem, and you can't see what you did, and you think you got it right, and so give yourself plenty of room and get a lot of paper. Okay, and then you add. Okay, all right. Now, there's a way to check multiplication, but it's more trouble than it's worth, so just do it another time. Okay. Now, the two things on adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing that people have trouble with are subtraction and division. If you ever miss a problem, it's usually your subtraction that you got a problem with. I don't know why, it's just a little bit harder to do. Almost everybody knows their addition facts and their multiplication facts, but they don't know their subtraction. And and I know a lot of people, count on their fingers, and sometimes don't tell anybody. I do that too. But anyway, those are the two things that you would have trouble with. But the most trouble will be on division. But I'm going to try to show you a method. No one showed me this when I was in elementary school. And if they had, it would have been so much better for me. Okay, I would always just look at the problem, 32 and 1,468, and just take some guesses. But you've got 32. It won't go into 1. It won't go into 14, but it will go into 146. So there's where you're going to put your answer. Okay, right up over the 6. Okay, now break the problem down. Take 3, it won't go into 1, but it will go into 14. You see how 3 into 14 is a much simpler problem than 32 into 1,400, blah, blah. So 3 will go into 14. 3 times, 4 is 12? All right, so it'll either be that number or one less. Okay, so we'll try 4 and see if that works. 4 times 2 is 8. 4 times 3 is 12. It did. Okay. Okay. And then 18 is less than your divisor. So you know you did it right. So bring down your 8. Okay. Now, most of the time, almost every problem, whatever that number is that will go into it, it's usually one less than that, almost every time. But every now and then, the one you pick is the one. Okay, now, break this one down. Instead of 32 into 188, do 32 into 18. How many times will that go? 3 times 6. Okay. Try 6 or try 5. I'm going to try 5. Okay. Alright, so my answer is 45, remainder 28. Now you can check it by saying 45 times 32 and then adding 28 to it. And that will come out to that number right there. Okay, I would probably never do that by hand. I mean, honestly, Now, if my life depended on it, or I had money that depended on my multiplication, I would check it. But, And after you finish your homework, what you're doing, you can always get your calculator out and check it. It's just when we're tested on it and when you're doing your homework,
You gotta
don't
do it
use
so
your
you can do it.
calculator. Right. Need to know how. Okay, questions on that? Okay. Had any of you ever done that part where you break it down? Okay. I say, now wouldn't that have been if somebody just showed you that, But one of the things that happened, I found this out when I was in college. Most elementary teachers hate math. So they didn't do well. They usually have to take one math class in order to teach elementary. That's not enough. And they hated it. They usually made a C or a D in it. So when they taught it to you, they didn't know how to do it, so they just rushed through it and went on to English or history.
That's what 2 + 2 equals Jello.
Yes, right. Exactly. Okay, so that's the way it is. Now I'm going to look at, you don't have to write this one down, but let's say we had this. Okay. See how that makes no sense to your brain? But 2 into 9 does make sense. Okay. What number will 286 actually go into? Where will you put your answer?
Above the 6.
Above the 6, right. Because 286 won't go into 9, it won't go into 98, but it will go into 986. Okay, so that's where you would put your answer. Now, 2 will go 9 4 times, but it'll probably be a 3. Okay, so I almost always do one less than whatever the number is. Okay. Now, another thing that people have trouble with, you can put this one down. Now, also, people learn different ways. Some people have trouble taking notes and understanding it and all that at the same time. So if you want to take your notes after you go back and watch the video again, you can. But it's just up to you. But you do need notes on everything that we do. Okay, because that's part of your notebook. Okay, now, we got 7,000 minus 126. Now, this is one of those that always causes people trouble. Okay, you can't take this from that, and there's not one there, so you got to borrow one from the 7, leave it a 6. Okay, then that makes this, right, where you've got like a 9, 9, and a 1. It makes this a 10, okay, because the one that you borrow that makes this a 10, so if you borrow from that, it makes it a 9, you borrow from that, then it goes on over. So, and these are the ones that people usually have the most trouble with. Okay, so 6 from 10 is 4, 2 from 9 is 7, 1 from 9 is 8, and a 6. Then check it. 6 and 4 is 10, carry 1. 7 and 2 is 9, plus 1 is 10, so 0, carry 1. 8 and 1 is 9, plus 1 is 10, so 0, carry 1. Alright, always, 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 no matter what kind of problem you have, check your subtraction. Even in division, look how many subtraction parts you're going to have in there. And so you've got a million places to make a mistake. Okay. And I am very thankful for calculators now. Okay. But not this week or next week. All right. Let's see. Okay. What we're going to do right now is to give you some practice. We're going to do set 1. And I will download this for Amber, and but this is set 1 right here. It's just adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing. Okay. So before we go on to anything else, we're going to make sure you can do this.
I assume you want our names on top of it, I guess.
However you want to do it, yeah, I would put my name on it. And if you don't have enough room, get another sheet of paper and do your work on that. It's up to you.
Hey, Miss Janet,
Mm-hmm.
when you're doing you do division with this and get down to the last number, would you actually add a 0 to that?
No. Okay, let's see. On this one, let's see if I just, okay. You'd have to put a 0 up here. And put from 90 to 31. Now, in a minute, we're going to do some where we add a decimal and add the zeros too. But right now, we're just doing the remainders.
Gotcha.
Mhm. when's the break? Do y'all remember?
Just whenever the teachers just so.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Huh. It used to always be like at 9:10 or something like
That's
that.
usually when,
Uh-huh.
since I've been here, that's usually when it is, but it varies.
Okay. Mhm.
I'm a slow poke, I'm sorry.
If I don't get my brain moving fast, I tend to have a squirrel moment. Just hand it back. We're into the restroom.
Uh-huh. Then you can go ahead and take your break.
Thank you.
Mhm.
stuck on one?
Yeah, I'm having a hard time remembering the form for like how to go about division, dude. I can't even remember. I know.
Try doing this. If you got the extra paperwork, then just try, like that's going to be your first number to go into that. You can break it down like she says, but sometimes my mind helps going this way. Take 262 and multiply it by 3 and see what you get. And then that way you'll know where you go up or down with that number. And it try to take the load off of it a little bit. All math is, and I hate it, dude. This is like my worst. My best friend is a high school math teacher, and she's brilliant. But she says the best thing about it is it teaches you how to problem solve.
Yeah.
You know,
But
troubleshoot.
I'm just. It's been so long that I just can't remember the form, like how to do about it.
Yeah, ain't nothing dumb about you. If you can handle Columbia, you can handle this. Besides, I think I went through too fast. I probably made a bunch of mistakes.
Take your break.
No, I'm stuck. It's been so long since
Just
I've
go
done
ahead and take a
division.
break and we'll go over it then.
Yeah, I need to refresh your own division.
Uh-huh, everybody usually does. That's the hardest.
Yeah. The rest of it, was pretty
Uh-huh,
elementary. but-
right.
It's
probably-
math. There's nothing elementary about it.
Probably Zell. I went to the ER Thursday. Well, my fiance is a nurse, and I started having this pain in my side on Monday, and I was being stubborn and wouldn't go to the ER like she told me to. And finally Thursday, I was just laying on the floor like in pain for hours, and she said, "You're going to the ER." So I said, "Okay." And they found out I was worried I had like some kind of appendix
Yeah.
issue, but it was kidney stones. My first time I ever had one, and so I've been loopy. So I'm trying to figure out if it's just I just don't remember how to do this, or if I can blame it on the drugs.
Right.
I'll blame it on the drugs, so I'm feeling better.
Go ahead and take a break.
Is this yours?
Man, I'm sorry.
No,
dude.
I was wondering.
Sorry.
No, that's not bald. That's
Came over to help you and I littered on you.
Take a break.
okay.
Yeah, I think most of the people are out in the hall, so if you're on the visible, then you can. Oh, let me tell you a story, speaking of kidney stones. And Joey, the middle son, and Joey, the middle son, has had them before. And then one of the times we went to Burma, he took this young man named Jeremy Gargis. I don't know if you know him or not. Okay.
Related to Rob.
But, I don't know. But I don't know how old he is. He's 30 something or 20 something. I'm not sure. Anyway, he's real young. But he has passed 50 something kidney
Wow.
already at that young. I don't even know if he's 30.
Wow.
But when
They
he
just getting the lot. No.
but when he went to Burma, they gave him something. He has not had one since.
Wow.
So, don't know what it was. They gave him, he had one thing in one place, and then they flew back down to another place, and he got some more meds, so he doesn't know which one of those it was. I said, we need to find out what
Yeah.
that is. We can
Burma's
make
like
a
the-
fortune.
Burma's like the Asian Somalia, isn't it? It's,
Yeah, it's pretty.
you probably got scared.
that right?
When a kid.
Oh, baby.
My mom's had them since she was my age a lot.
Oh, man.
So I'm thinking it's a lot of it's genetic, but
Drink a lot of sodas.
no, I don't really drink a lot. I mean, at least I'm drinking Red Bull, but I usually don't drink a whole lot of that. I drink a lot of water,
Water.
but I think a lot of it's just genetics too. There's a lot of people I know who drink a lot of sodas and
Yeah.
never had it. last summer, I think I remember him saying something about, I think it was y'all were talking to some converted doctors from China or something like that. Kind of said, how's that?
It's going really well. A lot of work. We've got like 8 men go out, and this spring they preached in 56 different cities.
Wow.
They're really doing good. Hey there. No. I don't know hardly anybody here.
We live past Cloverdale, so we drove about years ago. I mean, I still live. Oh, okay.
Yeah, good stuff.
Great. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. That's what we always did. I don't know if there is now. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so breakfast is not here, right? No, luckily I came, but they changed it. It's last year first. Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah, that's true. They're hungry. Yeah, that's true.
I'm working on my MDF. I was in we lived here about 40 years ago. We were here about 4 years ago. When we moved here, I was taking classes just because I wanted to have experience. And you know, you too. Isn't it? I'm following you.
And so we were just taking classes and I'm just saying last year. Have a good class. All right.
I got 3 students, 2 in class and 1 online.
That's awesome. It even smells like
That is so
culture
good.
in there.
Yes, it does.
And not in a
Yeah.
bad way, like when you smell like, you know, curry or something.
Right. Okay, now, I looked at yours, okay, and I haven't got to look at yours yet, okay. Now, some of these could be wrong, and so we're going to look and see who has the right answer. And you may not be able to see this because I didn't pencil, okay, and I missed a couple myself, you know, and sometimes this calculator does not work good. Okay, but let's see what you got and see if it's the same thing that I did. 79, and then 271, 4910, 824, and then number 5 is 206, 218, 5088, 15,935. Number 9 is 46, 1044, 1171, 12378. 13, 3,889, 769, 22,719, 16, 37,029. And we'll go over some of the ones if we have different answers, because I could miss it. I had one answer, then I'd check it on the calculator and get another, and then I'd go back, and you know, so anyway, we'll see. 17 is 539, 18 476, 19 5,808, 20 1,632. 31, 19,710. 32, 10,100. 33 is 144,246. 34 is 155,040, or 155,040. 35 is 166, remainder 6. 36, I think, is 110, remainder 31. 37 is 308, remainder 11. Now, we had a question earlier about putting a decimal and some zeros. We're going to do that later. But right now, we're just doing with a remainder. Okay, now, let's go over some of the ones that we did not have the same answer on. And I'll work some of those. Because I could have missed some, you know, because I did, you know. Okay, you have any that we had different answer on?
Yeah, I have
Okay.
3 that I missed,
Okay.
obviously. But I did check one of them.
Uh-huh.
Number 37, I felt like I did it
Okay.
wrong.
Alright.
And when I checked it with the calculator, I got 318 something.
Uh-huh.
But when I worked it out by hand, I got the exact same thing you got.
Okay. Alright. Okay. Yeah, sometimes, like, I've had these calculators, I don't know, 20-something years, I guess. And sometimes it doesn't give you the right answer, you know. And so I'm always kind of double-checking myself. Okay, so 266 won't go into 8 or 81, but it will that. So right there is where I'm going to put my answer. And then I'm going to go 2 into 8. That goes 4 times, but I'm going to do a 3. So 3 times 6 is 18, carry 1. 3 times 6 is 18, plus 1 is 19, carry 1. 3 times 2 is 6, plus 1 is 7. Okay, I'm going to check, make sure I got the same thing over here. Subtract 1, 2, okay. It's 9, 9, 10, 11. Okay, now a lot of times what happens is if I'm just working them, I'm not going through the trouble to check my subtraction. Okay, 266 won't go into 21, so I have to bring down the 3. Now, 266 still will not go into 213, so I have to put a 0 up here to hold the place. Okay, then bring the 9 down. And a lot of times that's where we have problems. Okay, 266 won't go into 213, so it's got to go into the whole thing. So we know it's going to be a big number like an 8 or a 9 or something like that. Since we already know what the answer is, I'm going to use an 8. Okay, so 6 times 8 is 48. Carry the 4. 6 times 8 is 48. 52. Carry the 5. 2 times 8 is 16. Is that 21? Okay. Alright, and then remainder 11. Now, if you had one of these on a test, you know, and you're getting graded on it without a calculator, you could multiply these two together, get an answer, and then add the 11 down there, and you should come out with that right there. Okay. Alright, there was another one, I forgot which one, I think it was 16, that I kept getting a different answer from the calculator was getting. I think it was. Any other ones that you had? Or did you see where if you made a mistake, where you made it? And see, I could have made the mistake because I didn't have the key already done on this one.
Yeah.
Which one did you need to see?
33.
33. Okay.
I
3
got
is
103,246.
okay. 4 times 9 is 36. 2 times 4 is 8. 11. 4 times 8 is 32. Plus 1 is 33. Okay, check that row. Okay. 9 times 7 is 63. Carry your 6. 2 times 7 is 14. 20. Carry 2. 7 times 8 is 56. 7, 58. So 5803. Okay.
Okay, that's where I made my mistake.
Okay.
Right on.
All right. Okay. And that's why it's good to put down what you do, because then you'll know, okay, it was my either multiplication or you forgot to add something. Okay, now, Jesse, which ones did you need to see?
There's a couple of the multiplication ones I got wrong, but I see why now after you did that. I didn't
Okay.
line up right.
Okay.
But the division's really the ones that were really giving me a lot of trouble.
Okay, you need to see 35?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do 35 if you don't mind.
Okay, I don't mind doing them all. Okay, here's 9 into 1500. So 9 won't go into 1, but it will go into 15. Okay, so it'll go 1 time. Okay, then bring down the 0. Then you've got 9 into 60. So 9 times 7 is 63. 9 times 6 is 54. So it's 6. Subtract. Okay. If this number is smaller than that one, you know you did it right. Then you bring down the next number, and you've got 9 into 60 again. So that's 6 times. We just did that one up there. And then you have a remainder of 6. All right, and then 36. Okay, let's say we have a 39 into 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, so 39 won't go into 4, but it will go into 43. So it's going to go right there. It'll only go 1 time. Okay, then subtract. Okay, and you have a 4 left over, I think. Okay, then you bring down the 2. Okay, that goes 1 time. So that's 3, and you bring down the 1. So you got 39 and 31. Now, a lot of times this is what causes people problems, because it still won't go into it, and you've already brought a number down. So when it's like that, you have to add a 0 to hold the place up there, and then put remainder 31. A lot of times people will not put the 0, and then they, they kind of go in circles and don't know exactly what to do. Okay, now I hope that helps you. One thing you can do, if you can find, you can do this online or anywhere, just make you up problems and practice dividing.
Yeah.
And see if you get the right answer, because there are so many steps in it, because you've got to do your multiplication and all these subtraction, and every time you subtract there's a chance you're going to make a mistake. Okay, but
The ones I got wrong were mainly not lining them up right.
Right.
I noticed.
I understand.
So that helps out a lot.
Okay. All right, next thing we're going to talk about is place value. So back to the notes again. Okay, now if we have a number like this, okay, I should have left more room up here at the top. I may need to do that again. Make sure I have enough room. Now, if you're going to read this particular number, you learned a long time ago, if you remember it, that here's the decimal. This place, this is the ones place. The next one is the tens, then the hundreds, then the thousands, and then the 10,000s. Okay, so ones, tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s. Next would be 100,000, then million, then 10 million, 100 million, and then like billion, and so forth and so on. Now, on this side of the number, these are fractions of a whole. So this is tenths. T-E-N-T-H-S, tenths. This one is hundredths. This one is thousandths. This is 10,000ths. Okay, and then you would have 100,000ths, millions, 10 millions, 100 millions, billions, so forth and so on. Okay, but these all have the THS on it because it's a fraction. Like if you've got something a pie divided into 10 things, and one of them would be a tenth, you know, okay, a tenth of the whole thing. So that's why it's like that. So you have to learn how to read this. And so you've got 32,651, and then when you get to this part, you just forget about all what's on the left, and you look at this, and you would read that 3,063, right? But it's 3,063 10,000ths. Okay, so you have to like practice, and I'm going to give you several in a minute, you know, so that you can practice on those. Now, if you've got another number, you don't have to put this in your notes. You've got this. And I ask you which place that was in. What would you say?
To the tens.
Tens, okay. If I said, what place is that in, what would you say?
The hundreds.
Hundreds, okay. Now, you notice they're not, you know, equal. This is ones, tens, hundreds, and this is tenths, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s. Okay, so we have to do that. Okay, and then we'll do some in a minute that we can practice. Okay, some of them that we'll have to do, it will be written out as a letter, and you have to say how you would pronounce it. Other ones are written out how you would pronounce it, and you have to change it back into a number, like that. Okay, now if you have something like this, 3 with a decimal point and a 2-6, most of the time we call this 3.26. Okay, that doesn't mean anything to your brain. Okay, so when you're reading a number, the decimal is read as an and. Okay, so you may want to put this up here. It's and, because you've got so many whole things and so many fractions there. Now, if I wanted to read this, this is 3 and 26 hundredths. Okay, now, next I want to round the number. Okay, so you look behind the decimal and look at this number, and if I want to round to the nearest tenth, okay, if I want to round to the nearest tenth, I find tenths place. Then I look at the number immediately behind it. If it is 5 or more, and I can put that like this, greater than or equal to 5, you will add 1 to it. Okay, so if you want to write that down, that's greater than or equal to 5. So it is. It's a 6. So I would take 1 and add it to it, so it would be 3 and 3/10. So that is rounding to the nearest tenth. Okay. Now, just look at some. You don't have to write these down. But if I've got 4.0763 and I wanted to round to the nearest hundredth, and like I said, because these are taped, you can go back. If there's anything that you don't quite get, then you'll be able to replay it. All right, if I want to round it to the nearest hundredth, I find hundredths place, tenths, hundredths. I look at the one directly behind it. If it is 5 or more, it is, you round up. So 4.01 would be your answer on that one. Okay, so that.
What if it's not greater than 5? You
Okay,
round it down or leave it
you
as
drop
is?
it off. Okay, it's like, suppose, okay, it's 4.0723, and I wanted to round it to the nearest hundredth. Okay, here's 100. This one is not more, so it's just 4.07. Just kind of drop off everything past the hundredth. Good question.
Yes. So I get the look at the number behind it part. I'm having a hard time understanding how the 7 becomes a 1 over there.
Okay. All right. Here's, oh, you're right. Okay. It is supposed to be 4.08. Okay. Right, yeah. Because this one goes a bit more, so 4.08. Sorry.
I was like, man, I'm
Right, yeah. I've lost my mind. Okay. Alright, next we're going to add, subtract, multiply, and divide decimals. Okay, the first one is going to be adding 32 1/10 plus 7 6/10. Okay. Alright, now your rule in addition is to keep your decimals in a straight line. Okay, if you do that, it's just the same as adding plain numbers. So 6 and 1 is 7, 7 and 2 is 9, and 3. So I'm going to rewrite it 39 and 7/10. Or 39.7 is what we'd usually call it. So when you're adding, you keep them in a row. When you're subtracting, you keep them in a row. Okay, so just make sure you have to be neat when you're doing these. Okay, so so there would be your answer there. You subtract, so just keep them in a row. Alright. Alright, when you're multiplying, okay, we have, let's say, 3 and 2/10 times 1 and 7/10. Alright, just go ahead and multiply as usual and forget that the decimals are there. 2 times 7 is 14, carry your 1. 3 times 7 is 21, plus 1 is 22. 1 times 2 is 2, 1 times 3 is 3. Add them together. Okay. Now, so you just multiply as usual, and then look at the places after the decimal. This is 1 and 1. So down here, you will start over here and go back 2. So this one, it was 1 past the decimal. This was 1 past the decimal. So you have 2. So you always start on the right and go this way. So 5 and 44 hundredths. Okay, let's see. Division. It's a little harder. Okay, you've got a 0.23 into a 163.70. Okay, now if you thought the other dividing was difficult, this one kind of blows your mind because you got all this stuff going on. But what I do is move the decimals first. Whatever your divisor, which is the number out here, however many places it has in it, move it to get rid of them. And so you would move this one that many. If I move that one 2, I'd move this one 2. So that is now a 23 into 16370. Now feel free to rewrite it. If all that moving around bothers you, then just rewrite your number. And then go ahead and divide as usual. Okay, so you get extra practice. Now, what you're really doing, in order to remove it, you're multiplying this by 100. If you multiply by 10, it moves the decimal one place, by 100 too. So if you do that to this one, then you've got to do it to that one. So that's all you're doing is multiplying. Okay, now let's do this one. Okay, I'm going to give you a minute and let you work that problem out there and see what you get. I probably need to tell you, on this one we won't have a remainder. We're going to add a decimal and some zeros. So I'll work it up here and then you can check whenever you want to. You notice this one keeps going, doesn't it?
I often do.
Okay. Now, so what we're going to do, we're going to round this one to the nearest tenth. Okay. Now, so 23 wouldn't go into 16, but it would go into 163. So 7 times 3 is 21, 2 is 14, plus 2 is 16. And we had a 27, so that went one time. Subtracted, we got a 40, that went one time. Then we got a 170, so that went 7 times. 7 times 3 is 21, carry 2, 14 plus 2 is 16, and you had a 9. So we had to add a decimal and a 0, you know, like bring it down. And so we got like a 21, and then if you keep, you know, going, you bring this one down, and it goes 3 times. Let's see, okay. All right, now if you want to round it to the nearest tenth, all you have to do is go out one more place. Okay, now here's tenths place. The one behind it is not more than 5, so you'll drop it off. So 7/11 and 7/10 would be your answer there, because you would drop it off. Okay, now it all depends on your instructions. If they say give your answer as a remainder, you do that. If they say round it to the nearest blah blah blah, then you'll do whatever that says. Okay. Okay, let's do these right here before we go on to something else.
Are these sets that we're doing? Are those is that like for grade, or is that the participation, or how's that?
Yeah, that's if you do them, that's your homework. So you get 100. So you got 100 while ago.
Okay.
And if
Even
you
though-
do these,
even though
you
I
get
messed
100.
it all up royally.
Wait, so this is our homework?
Well, it's classwork, homework, whatever. It counts. So you get a grade for
Okay.
it for doing it. Okay. I'm missing one over here. I don't know where it is.
I was just worried I was going to get like a negative 30 on this.
No. I can't find my 2A, so I'll have to write it up here. Okay. Go ahead and do this one, and then I'll put the other one up there. I'll have to copy it off because I don't know where it is unless I find one real quick. Okay, so we're going to do 2A in a minute, which is this one right here. Write the place value. And then we're going to do 2B, which is this one. Okay.
1 in 4,000, would that be 1,004?
Okay, the and is the decimal. 1 and 4,000. And 4,600. 12. Okay. 1, so it looked like that. You have to do this part after the and, 4,612. And then this is tenths, hundreds, thousandths, 10,000ths. These are very difficult. They look easy, but then when you actually do them, they're hard. It would have helped if I had this one done first.
Or are we just writing like tenths, thousandths, or whatever?
Uh-huh.
Whatever. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
question about rounding, and I think I know the answer. I just want to clarify. If the number behind it is not greater than 5, or equal or greater, does it remain the number that it is?
I'll make it a 0.
You make it a 0.
Here's the 10.
Okay, I got you.
Make it a 17.4.
Okay,
0
gotcha.
or 17.4.
Okay, got you.